What's up, you guys? Welcome to the June 10th edition of NBA 3-Ball, presented by Establish the Run. I'm your host, Mike Gallagher, getting ready to preview the Thursday action. Got a two-game slate today. Some good ones today. Really pumped. We had that great Clippers-Jazz game. Hopefully we get a closer game in this first one. Going to kick that off first. And still no Jeff Green, still no James Harden. Really no surprise. Hasn't been an issue. And that's rotation-wise. Pretty similar both games. Mike James, 13-minute stint in the first half, probably looking at a decent amount of second half minutes before it got to garbage time. No Kyrie KD stagger, so we saw Joe Harris and Mike James kind of benefit in that time. I don't know if they're going to stick with it, but then again, it worked, so maybe if they do stick with it, Mike James has really kind of given them leash to run different things and how they're going to stagger and rotate guys in, so certainly the Nets obviously have a leg up there. Bucks rotation notes, yeah, we saw that big lineup go away. The tuck wagon minutes went away. It was back to that straight Portis Lopez stuff. I think Lopez is in a pretty good spot. Talk about him more in a second with the way the rotation changed. Jrue Holiday, 22.5 first half minutes is just ridiculous. Just quote-wise, really talked about Bruce Brown, saying that Brown's screening is a, quote, rare skill. And we've seen him just run those dives that get so clean with the attention that Kyrie and Kevin Durant get. So Bruce Brown looking at a pretty good opportunity as a secondary guy. Going to focus on just the half-court offense. And this has been a thing I talk about all the time, and it's just such an advantage. 114 points per 100 possession in this series. It was actually more in the Boston series versus 82 from the Bucks. So you're talking about 32 points per 100 possession advantage in half-court. And then also very noteworthy that they are really cutting down the transition buckets. Cut them down by about 5% from where they were in the season. So that's very much taking control of the offense. And the other big thing the Nets are doing is completely taking away kind of assisted buckets. The Bucks have just a 30.5 potential assists in this series, only 17.5 real ones. Just to give that 30 number a reference point, the Blazers were last at 39 a game, so huge dip, 47 average for the Bucks on the season. So you're talking about a third decrease in potential assists. And it just really shows they're not getting wide open looks anymore. Chris Middleton doesn't have any. I kind of went on a tangent, but a lot of stats I got in matchups, and I'm kind of giving them away. But it's really cool. So yeah, KD, tightly contested shots. This has been the thing all along. Talked about him leading the NBA beyond 10 feet, and yeah, 25 tightly contested shots, 62 effective field goal percentage. You take that all day. One block on 43 shots, getting to the rim a lot. More than we thought. I expected. I spent a lot of in exterior stuff. 71% of his buckets are unassisted, getting heavily covered from PJ Tucker. It don't matter, man. KD is gonna be KD. Like, I write matchups as pointless because the guy, it doesn't matter who you match up with him. He's just insane. So Kyrie also hasn't been too great. Obviously, Jrue Holiday on him. A lot of stuff has been kind of iffy. His drive game has been gone. 3 of 9 on drives. That's not great for him. Pretty good driver. Hasn't really played well off KD passes, interestingly. Just 2 of 11. And Jrue Holiday's been a factor. So certainly expect Kyrie to struggle a little bit just because of the matchup. Jrue Holiday is certainly legit. Blake Griffin, as you see on the stat sheet, certainly took a big step back. Usage rate dipped. Didn't really get the assist opportunities as well. Playing time's pretty secure, though. 17 first half minutes, so you're looking at that mid-30s minutes again. But 7 usage rate is tough to see. Probably a pretty light downside. But yeah, he'll be open. I think he's got an okay floor and kind of an okay ceiling, kind of a combo. Joe Harris is Joe Harris, and the Bucks, we kind of knew they weren't going to really defend him, and they're not. 9 of his 16 attempts have been wide open, so he's getting some phenomenal looks. Wouldn't be surprised if he has a big game here with the Bucks, maybe trying to throw different stuff at KD and Kyrie because they pretty much have to do something with the way that this offense is just destroying them as well. Talked about Bruce Brown, talked about Mike James, but yeah, certainly the Nets, we'll see not too much Nick Claxton. Somewhat surprisingly, still haven't seen DeAndre Jordan. Hopefully the Bucks are favored in this game after they got waxed, so that's a bet I would definitely take. So Bucks specific stuff, I mean, Giannis isn't really the problem. Sure, free throws, other stuff, but he's crushing it at the rim, 14 of 15 at the rim, 7 of 11 on other paint shots. His other shots, which are what we know, Giannis isn't going to do much on jumpers, just 3 of 11 on his non-paint shots. Not being used as a screener, 13 of his 21 paint shots have been unassisted, so that's him kind of doing his own thing. We thought we'd see more of that Middleton-Giannis pick-and-roll game, just not happening. And really, their rapport offensively hasn't really been there. Middleton's assisted Giannis just twice. Middleton assisted by Giannis just once. So that two-man game has kind of been taken away. Blake's done a pretty good job as they played a lot of great team defense, much like the way kind of the Heat did, right? Throw a kind of a bigger, stronger body on him without a lot of size. Jay Crowder, Blake Griffin, kind of same thing. As far as just, archetype. But just from a physical standpoint. But yeah, it's just team defense. Giannis has to play better. It's really plain and simple. Like, Giannis has to dominate this game for them to have a chance. So I think he's going to have a big game. There's really nothing that they could do, both either side. So Giannis just has to continue to just force his way in the paint. Chris Middleton, on the other hand, easily been the worst player for the Bucks as far as meeting expectations goes. Bruce Brown has been phenomenal on him. Not getting anything. 0 wide open looks, in fact. Catch and shoot game isn't really there, just 3.5 attempts per game. Pull-ups, he's 3 of 17 on them with 1 3. That's a 21 effective field goal percentage. Can't be any worse, and Middleton just has to play better. We've seen Middleton kind of do damage in bad spots over the season, so I think he could play a little bit better. But yeah, I just don't really like where he's at offensively with Bruce doing such a good job on him. I think Jrue Holiday's in a pretty good spot here. Hasn't really had anything going off ball as far as shooting, just 0 of 2 on catch and shoot shots. Not really getting him transition points either has been big. 0 points off turnovers in the series is kind of wild. So potential assists at 12 a game. Should be better there. Should attack Kyrie more. Minutes are insane. 22.6 first half minutes in game 2. So he's going to play a lot. So just based off those minutes alone, you got to be interested in Jrue. Talked about Brook a little bit earlier. Should be looking at pretty good minutes. 15.5 in the first half for him. PJ Tucker, man, 7.4 usage rate in the playoffs, second lowest in the playoffs behind Taj Gibson. So, they kind of have to play him. Their starters haven't really been the issue. So, as much as Bryn Forbes has been making shots sometimes, maybe Pat Connaughton gives him a different dynamic, I think they still got to start Tucker, again, because the starters haven't been the issue. It's been when the bench comes in, they've been getting worked. So, the Portises, the Forbeses, Connaughtons, it's a tough sell for those guys to see more time. Little more detail on the Jazz-Clippers game, and yeah, obviously, Donovan Mitchell was everything. He had a 45 usage rate, 8 of 11 on drives, unassisted on a majority of his buckets, just worked them. The Clippers, again, the same thing with really Luka. They didn't throw a lot of aggressive trapping and doubling. They tried. It was a lot of late stuff. We saw late in the game. They would try to bring help and it just didn't come in time. So, yeah, definitely see some similarities in how Donovan Mitchell is going to be used. Did mention after the game, Quinn Snyder said he was kind of nauseous, and the ankle was fine. 37 minutes, certainly a good sign. So I think Donovan's going to have just a huge series in this game. Rudy Gobert, pretty quiet. 1 of 5 in the paint at the rim specifically. Actually had a mid-range shot, technically, according to the tracking data, which matched his entire season output. They took him away. His paint touches came down. I think he gets a little bit more involved. Maybe they change up their coverages to run that high trap, to get some cleaner rim runs for Gobert. There wasn't a lot of that 1-5 pick and roll stuff for Mitchell, so maybe that is something that we look more of seeing into game 2. But yeah, it's really just the Donnie show. We saw a decent amount of Bojan getting Kawhi as expected. No shots for Royce, but the minutes are going to be there. He was really big guarding Paul George and Kawhi. More Kawhi for him. So yeah, should see a lot of him. And yeah, just Clarkson played a bunch. Pretty typical usage rate. Tons of threes. 14 threes ties his most. Fourth most on the season, with the 3 of those 4 having significantly more minutes. So pretty similar role for him. And yeah, it's a great game. Clippers side of this kind of misspoke on the last 3 ball, by the way, with Zubats having pretty good impact here. And he actually won the Gobert minutes, so I want to start with that. It was plus 11.1 net rating in 10 minutes against Gobert, minus 23 in the other minutes when he wasn't facing Gobert. So maybe we see more Zubats. Starting lineup got wrecked. We saw Nick Batum's minutes get cut hard to Luke Kennard, who played pretty well. Probably looking at pretty good minutes from him. Reggie Jackson, horrendous game, fouled out. Probably going to start. Lou has talked about how he likes Rondo in the second unit, Terrence Mann in the second unit. Beverly, only played 6 minutes. That's a tough sell to put Beverly in that first unit, because I just think that he likes that second unit the way it is. So I think Jackson starts. Certainly concerned about his upside, especially if Luke Kennard is going to play that much minutes, and they've got to get Rondo some playing time as well. So cutting out that 2-point guard look definitely caps his upside a little bit. Star stuff, yeah, just Paul George, not really himself. The drive game wasn't quite where it was in Dallas, which makes sense. You're going against better rim protection, expecting him to be better. Just has to drive more. Drives cut down. Shot percentage off drives came down from the Mavericks series as well. Again, credit the Gobert impact, I would say. While Kawhi, not as aggressive, only 11 drives, 6 points off those drives. Did see a lot of Royce O'Neal. And, lower usage rate, 25. Expect it to be a little bit more because, as many people have said, if it's a tough defense you're facing, your stars have to be tough shot makers. So I think that is where Kawhi could make a pretty big impact in this game. I think the Jazz have an advantage. I think that Donovan Mitchell is going to be too good. They just have such an improved level of secondary scoring from that Dallas series. So if Mitchell could be even close to Luka, which is not easy to do, even if he's 75% of Luka, I think this Jazz offense is a little bit better suited to beat this Clippers team. So that's it. Catch you tomorrow.